Hello art students, this is Mrs. Didowick here. We are going to make a painting inspired by the artist Bob Ross. It's going to be a monochromatic painting, which means we're only going to use 3 colors to do the whole painting: blue, white, and black. And I'll be posting several videos on this because it'll probably take you several days to do it, so I'll be posting several short videos. Right, so what you're going to need is your sketchbook paper or a canvas if you'd like to do it on a canvas. You will need a cup with some water. You will need your art paint pack that I gave you. This is called a palette, and each of these little circles is called a pan. So we're going to be putting our paint into the little pans. You also have a couple of brushes in your art pack. So you have a fine brush, a small brush, and then a larger flat brush that we'll be using. And you'll need some paper towels, and you'll need a piece of newspaper, something to put under your materials to protect the surface that you're working on. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is you're going to get your paint. You have a black in your kit, you have a white in your kit, and you have a Mediterranean blue in your kit. So what I'd like you to do is, in your palette, I'd like you to put some paint in your palette. Now remember, these little circles here are called a pan. You should never fill a pan more than halfway with your paint. That way you're giving yourself room to mix, and you're not going to put too much in it that it spills over. So a half a pan of white, another half pan of white, and then the same thing with the Mediterranean blue, 2 half pans of blue, and then a half pan of black. And I've put these in different areas, it doesn't really matter. But we're going to we have 2 of these because we want to keep one a clean white. So we want to make sure we always have a clean white. We want to make sure we always have a clean blue. So we'll have a clean white and a mixing white, and a clean blue and a mixing blue. Alright, so we're going to take your larger flat brush, and you're going to dip it into your blue paint, and you're going to start at the top of your canvas, and we are going to start painting with that blue right onto your paper or your canvas. You're going to paint a little ways down. You should be doing this right along with me. You might want to watch the video first and then do it right along with me so you know you're prepared, but it's nice to do it right along with me. Now what you're going to do is just take a little bit of white and start mixing it into this blue so that you're going to create a fade. So you want to sort of blend this together, and you're just going to gradually mix some more white down here. If you're using a canvas, the canvases come pre-primed, which means they sort of already have a layer of paint on them, and that's going to make your paint glide on here a lot better. If you're just using your paper, then it's going to suck up the paint a lot faster, and you'll just have to keep adding some more. If your paint gets a little dry on there, you can add just a touch of water, just a spot. You know, it's just enough to keep your paint moving. But you can see I'm getting a nice fade here, going from the Mediterranean blue and then gradually adding more and more white until I go down, probably about halfway down the page or the canvas. So you're just going to keep working with this until you get a nice fade. Work all the way to the edge. You don't want to see where the colors are coming together. You just want this to magically happen. So I might just put just a smudge of water, just a tiny bit. You don't want it to start warping your paper or getting your paper too wet. So I'm almost done. I'm just going to have a little bit more white, come down here just a little bit further. And we've been studying the value scale since the beginning of the year, so now you're doing value with paint. So what we've done is we've gone and created a nice fade with the blue going into white. And so we've come about here to our just over halfway down the paper, and we're going to say that that's our horizon line. We're not going to actually draw it, we just know it's there. The horizon line is where your sky meets the ground. So we have that finished. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start at that horizon line, and we're going to start with a little bit of black. So I didn't wash out my brush. It's usually a good idea to wash out your brush, but I didn't because we're just mixing here. So I'm going to start with this black. I'm going to put a little line here of black. And then I'm going to, with my mixing blue, I don't have to wash my brush out because I'm going to be mixing, blending it together, is I'm going to just start adding some blue paint to this. And we're going to just pull this down so that it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter as we pull it down. Remember, I'm not adding any more black, I'm just adding blue. So I add blue to this until I get a nice coverage. And once I get down to about here, I'm going to then start mixing with my white into it. And I'm just going to dip my paintbrush into the white and start blending from there. And remember, I am not going to add any more blue to my brush. I'm not going to add any more black to my brush. I'm just pulling down this color so that it's gradually getting lighter and lighter as I work my way down the page. A tiny bit of water. This is going to be the reflection. This is going to be our water. It's going to be creating a reflection of the sky. So we're sort of mimicking what we see in the sky a little bit. Add a little bit of water, a little bit more white paint, and then I'm just going to work on blending all of this together, making sure it's all smooth. Notice I'm working in a horizontal brush stroke, back and forth horizontally. I would like you to also do that. Just make sure you're going back and forth horizontally. This is going to make it look more like the water. So I'm going to add just a little bit more blue. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in my brush. I want a little bit more blue in here. Mix it a little bit more. So I'm just adding a little bit of blue on my brush and work on this mixing here a little bit, playing around with it until it just gets to where I want it. And then I'll add a little bit of black up here just to go over some of this. I am not using a canvas, so my surface is not primed, so it sucks up the paint a lot faster. So sometimes I have to go back and add a little bit more. I don't think, if you're just using the paper in your sketchbook, it won't suck it up that much because it's thinner. But you're looking for something like this. You can see that it's a nice gradual blending of color. You can see the sky. We go dark to light with the sky, and then again we go dark to light with the water here. Make this a little bit straighter. And this would be how we start our canvas. Notice that we have not had to use our pencil at all yet. We've not drawn anything on here. We're just setting the painting up. So we've got our background done, and we've got the background of our water done. This is we've got our background, we've got our foreground, and this foreground is also the middle ground, so we're going to be working on that next. All right, we're going to just go ahead and lay out some land here. So we're going to do that by adding our darkest color. So if you feel more comfortable drawing this with a pencil, you can, but I'm just going to paint it on here. What I've done, if you can see here, I've just put a little bit of paint on my black paint on my brush, and I'm just going to make some mountains here. some lines for some mountains. And mountains can look all different ways. So I'm just going to put my base coat down, which is going to be our darkest color, and I'm just going to put that down here. Since I got a little bit of black right there, guess what I'm going to do? Make a little bit more mountain, and bring my mountain over here. And so that would be the base coat of the mountain. I'd also like to have a little bit of land down here in the foreground, in the corner here. So what I'm going to do down here is just add a little bit of sort of a line like that, and this is just I'm going to paint this in the black because this is the base coat of my land mass down here. So we start with the darkest color and we build our way up. And you know what? I think I'm going to add a little bit of a land mass here too. So we're going to have like a little bit of a island or a little bit of land coming right here. Let's add a little bit more interest here. So we've got our mountain in the background, and we've got a little land mass here and a little land mass here just to add some interest. Alright guys, we're going to let this dry for a little bit, so stay tuned for the next video.